Do you like what we do here? I would assume so if you're listening to this. We have had a good year for growth this year. We've had substantial growth on all the podcast feeds with new subscribers. We have the new YouTube channel with a bunch of new subscribers there too. But we want to carry this over into 2026 so we can continue to provide high quality entertainment, high quality news, high quality reviews, and all that kind of stuff. So what we're asking for going into next year is, if you have the ability, we're not asking for a lot, you can donate. Go to ko-fi.com/MWP News and make a donation. Everything you do goes towards making sure we can do things. That way I can take days off work to go and cover things early, or, things of that nature. Go to events and talk about them early, see advanced screenings. All that stuff goes into that budget. On top of that, if you can't afford that, and I realize right now things are tough and things are rough out there. If you can't afford that, the easiest thing you can do is subscribe and rate. No matter what you use to get this podcast, you can subscribe. Just hit the follow button, hit subscribe, whatever the button is on your thing, and then rate us. Give us 5 stars. That'll help more people find us, and the more people find us, the more we can, the more we'll be able to do, and we'll be able to get more happening. You can also go to mwpnews.com and sign up for our newsletter. There we will have articles and stuff like that about what we cover on this show. And we will also be doing more gaming content on the YouTube channel. If we can get, with more subscribers on there, we can do more. And that's youtube.com/@MWPnews. And again, thank you for a great year for us. Next year will be better. One of the big issues that I had this year that preempted me from doing a lot of what I wanted to has been resolved with the issue with my car, and that issue has been resolved. So going into this next year, we should be a lot more smooth sailing, but we do need your help to get more people listening and get what we're doing here out there. So just subscribe, tell your friends, and if you have the ability to, and you have the money, and you want to, and you think we're doing a good job, and we've earned that, go to ko-fi.com/MWP News and throw us whatever you think we deserve. And thank you, and enjoy this episode. Good morning and welcome to the Backlog Files. I am Adam. It's been a minute. I've been busy dealing with some stuff I gotta fix. Got that stuff fixed. Haven't had much time to play video games, and the games I was playing for the YouTube channel, which took up a lot of time, didn't exactly lend themselves to episodes of this show, especially since I'm still in the middle. I'm still in the beginning, technically, of one of them. And the other one's Minecraft. But I think within a few weeks, we're probably going to, if people aren't glomming onto them, we're not going to continue doing them. We'll find something else. Anyway, we're here because the DLC came out for Pokemon Legends ZA. And I know a lot of people really like this DLC. I get that. I've seen a lot of positive response to it. Maybe I'm the odd man out on this. I do not like this DLC. I do not like this DLC this close to release. I do not like this DLC costing $30. This is not DLC that I would say is great. Because here's the thing. Fundamentally, what this DLC feels like to me is that free update that came a little after the release of Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's not the same thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's the same thing at all. It's not the same thing as the massive mass outbreak update. I'm not trying to make the claim that they are. What I am saying is that it is a little close in terms of like what the general gameplay mechanic here is. And the thing is too, it's like the gameplay loop is basically the exact same as the main story gameplay loop, which I think is a problem in and of itself because I didn't really like. That was one of my big issues with the game itself, was that it's like this, what you're doing is you're going around doing missions, ranking up. Story progresses when you rank up, and then you're doing that, and then rinse, repeat. Oh look, there's some rogue mega evolutions. Okay, great. That kind of thing is the thing that I'm like, oh, like doing more of that is not exactly appealing to me. If I have to sit here and go through what is basically that same thing, but with research missions for catching, not just battling, it's kind of not great. And then the other issue is like, okay, fine, we're going to Pokemon past level 100, but yours can't be trained above level 100. So it's all about using these donuts to get the right combination of donuts to open up the portal properly. Like, so that way you get that boost going in. It's less about strategy and more about, just getting the highest, donut you can get, so that way you can open up this portal longer and just go through and just tank through. There's a lot of things here that I'm not overly fond of. I'm not thrilled that the overarching bad guy ends up being Darkrai. I'm not thrilled that, why does Heatran get a Mega Evolution? Like, Volcanion's standing right there like, hey, what's up? And then especially giving Heatran a Mega in a game where Groudon's present. Like, I know they're not the exact same type, but it's like Heatran coming the generation after Groudon has always bugged me. It's always been something that I'm like, why so close together? Because they are, like, similar. Like, they both are these legendary Pokemon that live in the mountains. And look, I get there's mythos to Groudon that there isn't to Heatran. Like, Heatran is one of the other legends, and like, but it's always been something I'm like, really? We did this close to... I remember even at the time thinking, like, we just had Groudon. Like, and this guy lives in a volcano, and all of that. Do we really need that? And then also, this is just after... We just had Groudon, and they just relocated Moltres inside a volcano, and it's like, oh, cool, we're in a volcano, here's another volcano Pokemon. And to do that and not give it to Volcanion, or Volcanon, however you pronounce it, feels weird, because that Pokemon hasn't gotten anything. I think it had one movie where it was a starring role, and it doesn't have, like, why not give that one the Mega? Like, that would make more sense to me. I'm not thrilled about Darkrai being the final bad guy. I get how it works with hyperspace and all of that, but I would have rather, like, dealing with, hyperspace, I would have rather we got into maybe some of the Ultra Beasts. Maybe something like that would have been a little bit better for what this is. It's just, it feels a little weird, because it's like, that's something else that we haven't really gone back to. Like, we've gone back to Mega, not just here, but we've gone back to Mega in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. They brought back Mega Evolutions. We haven't encountered Gigantamax, and we haven't encountered what's the other one yet? We're not far enough removed from Gigantamax to say, oh, we haven't gone back to that yet. But I think we're far enough removed now from Legends, from Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon to be like, yeah, they were in that, that cave mode in the cave, like, it was kind of a cave, like, roguelike almost, with the battle dens to get the legends. That, yeah, they were there, and then, like, Ursaluna and not Ursaluna, Lunala and Solgaleo were both in Scarlet and Violet, but to have us, in this, like, we haven't really revisited the idea of the Ultra Beasts, and that's interesting to me. We haven't done that yet. It would be cool too, but we just haven't, and that's something that I would have thought would have been something you could have played with here, but they just opted not to. Yeah, I mean, it's very bare bones. Like, I didn't like, the way you do it in the stories. That you had to do the same thing here in these small little environments. It's not something that, and they're repetitive. This is not something that I was, overly fond of or anything like that. Oh, look, the asshole convoy. Oh, okay, I think that person's actually with them. But yeah, it's like, what's the game plan here? Like, my whole thing with this is, we've talked about it before on this show several times. Legends ZA is a stopgap. It is designed to be like, look, we see your complaints, look at how we can make the game look, and the game, wasn't quite as glitchy or shitty looking as as other past Pokemon games. Like, it looks good. It performs well. I didn't play the Switch 2 edition, I played the Switch 1 edition, and it performed very well for me. So, fundamentally, the question here is, like, what are we, okay, so the DLC is out. What were we trying to learn from this DLC? Because clearly this whole thing is meant to be a learning experience. They're trying to learn how to, how to work with this engine a little bit more efficiently, coding in the Pokemon, like, trying out this new battle system. And it's like, what are we doing here? If this is what we're, if this is what we're doing. And that's kind of the weirdness of this whole situation, is that it's like, what are we doing here? And I'm not entirely sure that this DLC quite answered that question, because it's long, and it's just, and not long in a good way. It's just time wasting long. Like, there's a point where you go on a mission, you just have to walk around the museum, and I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, the whole thing's just kind of a little disappointing. And the fact that, like, there are multiple Megastones that have not made it into the game yet. And I get that Baxcalibur is 100% going to end up being, and we know it's going to end up being, it's the next reward, and then we know that the starters for Hoenn are the reward after that, which kind of tracks considering where, what's it called, is what happened with the starter, the Mega Stones for the starters in Kalos. That all makes sense, and that all tracks. The issue is, like, what about, what about Mega Garchomp Z, which is in the game, but you can't get the Mega Stone for it yet. And I get that this is just about, let's just keep the game active for as long as possible. We want people to continue playing. But fundamentally, my issue with this game is, it doesn't have a mechanic like Sword and Shield does. Not Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet does, to keep me coming back. It doesn't have the outbreaks to make me go like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go back and do, and check in on this and all of that. Oh, well, we're doing special outbreaks now that will have an increased shiny spawn rate of whatever this is. That doesn't exist in this game. So, once you complete it and once you catch everything, what are we doing here? And that's kind of the question that I find myself asking. It's like, oh, okay, well, we're done now, so what are we doing here? And it's just kind of a little unfortunate, where it's like, what's the next step in this? And it's just like, okay, well, I finished the story, I finished this, I have the ites, and okay, great. What next? And it's just, I feel like for what this DLC is, it's longer and there's an end goal to it. So it's not exactly like the massive mass outbreak update. where you get the alphas and all of that. It's not exactly like that. I'm not saying it is. But it kind of feels like it. Whereas like if it didn't have the story that goes to the end with a final boss, I feel like that's something that would have been different. And that's kind of the issue that I have here. Like, what are we doing? It's kind of the big multi-million-dollar question here. What are we doing? I don't know. I enjoyed playing it moment to moment, but as an entire experience playing through the game and getting to the end and really experiencing what this is, I was kind of like, yeah. And especially at $30. Like, too much of it feels repetitive, and there's not enough environments for me to feel like this was something worth that money. And I don't think there was any new models that were added for new Pokemon. And that's the other disappointment, is that it's like, oh, so you have all this stuff for new Pokemon and you're going to do that. And it's like, realistically, I'm probably not going to go back to Legends ZA. Legends ZA was fun. It had some unique quirks to it. It did some interesting things. It really did show that you could put care into making one of these games. But fundamentally, I think now that we're at the end of its life cycle with the release of the Mega Dimension, I think I'm kind of like, it was fine. And ultimately, like, yes, Scarlet and Violet has its bugs, but that game was more enjoyable. Legends Arceus was a little odd. That game was more enjoyable. I think that, like, it's the best looking game, and I think it's a good way to cap off the Switch generation for the Pokemon Company. Like, this is the best way to send off, because you're just like, we made this game, it looks great, it performs well, we finally figured out how to get the software, how the hardware to work. But ultimately, all I find myself looking at with this is, you know, what could have been. And it's like, had they figured this out earlier, we could have had better games. And it's like, to see that, like, oh, this is what this could have been. It's just kind of a little bit like, oh, well, okay, I guess. But whatever, it is what it is. The DLC, I'll say, is a 3. And the reason why I'll say it's a 3 is because there's enough stuff to do to keep you entertained if you do buy it. I don't think there's anything in this DLC that is must play. I do not think there's anything in this DLC that is going to particularly carry over. The idea of the Z Megas is kind of cool. It's just a shame there's only 3 of them. That's kind of my biggest issue here, is that it's like, the Z Megas are cool. You have Mega Garchomp Z, which you can't even get yet. You have Mega Absol Z, and you have Mega Lucario Z. And it's just the idea where it's like, oh, it's going to burn through Mega Energy faster, but you're going to be able to use your moves quicker. The reload time is down. Like, oh, that's a cool idea. But it's just kind of something where it's like, I didn't really use them enough to be able to test this. Like, I kept Absol in my party. I'm not entirely sure why, because I don't use Absol ever. But, like, I kept Absol in my party, and, like, I tried to use the Mega Evolution. Like, it really only came out during the fight with the 2 Mega Crabominable, or whatever the fuck their names are. And that was just because I needed something to stall while I healed my ace. And I just, like, it's like, okay, well, he's out, and he's getting his ass kicked immediately. But, like, I didn't really use him, and it's like I tried to Mega Evolve him, and because that fight is just ridiculously stupid. I'm sorry. I don't think I've ever seen anything in this game, or in any of these games, as ridiculously stupid as that fight. But, like, I wonder if it evens out, is the question that I have. If it only impacts the reload speed of the move, and it speeds up the reload speed, but it also speeds up the rate at which you burn through mega energy, doesn't that just even out? Whereas like you use mega energy faster to stay in that form, but you're reloading faster, so it's like, okay, but couldn't I just use the regular form and do the same thing? Maybe not. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, I appreciate what they tried with that. And again, it would have been nice to see that used more. And not just on Garchomp and, what's it called? Not just on Garchomp and, what are their names? Garchomp and Lucario and Absol. It would have been nice to see it on some of the others. Also, like, to reveal Raichu as the thing that's like the mascot Pokemon for this DLC was a little weird, considering it's one side quest. You get the Raichuite, and that's it. Like, the fact that was a big reveal was kind of disappointing. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's a 3-star game. It's a 3-star DLC. But we'll wrap up there for today. And until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.